10.5, which is an American tour exploration that we'll primarily be using in SRB and some of your math journal pages. We're going to be taking a look at Old Faithful and its eruptions. Getting up our brain warmed up just a little bit here. How many seconds are there in 2 minutes? If we think about that, there are 60 seconds in 1 minute. There's 120 seconds in 2 minutes. If we're thinking about 5 minutes, 5 times 60, 6 times 5 is 30 plus 0, so 300 seconds. 2.5 minutes. Use our knowledge from up above. We know that 2 minutes is 120 seconds. A half a minute is 30, so 150. Some of you also figured out that 5 minutes, 2.5 minutes is half of 5, so 300 divided by 2 is 150. D, how much is in 10 minutes? 2 ways to do it. You can multiply what we figured out for 2 minutes by 5, otherwise 10 times 60, which is going to be 600 seconds. And then in 1/4 of an hour, first thinking about how much is 1/4 of an hour, that is 15 minutes, so 15 times 60 is equal to 900 seconds. You're going to be reading on your math journal on page 350 about Old Faithful. Some of you maybe have experienced Old Faithful, others of you maybe have never heard about it. This isn't a picture of Old Faithful. It is out in the west, and it blows up eruption of water every so often, and you're going to learn a little bit about that today in your math lesson. You're going to be working on predicting when Old Faithful will next erupt by using an equation today. Remember, equations or algebraic expressions, those are synonyms for each other. They will usually have variables and words, or variables and numbers with some type of operation, adding, subtracting, multiplying, and dividing. Make sure that you read at the top. It is kind of interesting to read, and you'll learn a little bit more, and it'll help you as you finish your math journal pages. Just a little bit of idea of where is Old Faithful. Old Faithful is in that Wyoming area, very close to Montana. We can think that we live here, so it's really straight west from here, just a couple thousand miles away. When you're working on page 350 today, you're going to be thinking about equations, which we've talked a little bit about. And we know that a situation or a problem can be expressed in 3 different ways. We can say it in words, we can write it in an equation, and we can also put that information into a table, or input-output. All right, now we're going to go ahead and do a little bit of a review from a couple lessons ago on pan balances. Remember, we always want to make sure that one side of the equation is equal to the other. So if we're taking a look at number 1, we want to know 1 orange weighs how much as a triangle. Well, first off, we can get rid of these 2 oranges because there's 1 on each side. And we can get rid of 1 triangle and 1 triangle because they're 1 on each side. So now we're left with 2 triangles and 4 oranges. We have to get it divided into equal groups. So 2 oranges will go with this triangle and 2 would go with that. So that would equal 2. You will need to be completing the rest of the page, but I just want to jump down to number 6 because it seems a little bit more complex, but it's the same idea. We're just using variables instead of objects. So if I have 4 x's and 6 x's, I can cross out 4. I can cross out 4 from the side, so I'm left with 2 x's. Here I have b's and m's. They do not equal each other, so we cannot cross them out. But so in order to figure out an x weighs as how many m's, we might have to look at a second pan balance. Once again, going ahead and crossing some of those things out, I can get rid of all of the 5 here, and 20 minus 5 is 15 m's here. Now it feels like maybe we're stuck because we have b's, m's, and x's, but we know based off of this information over here, a little bit more about this side. So I know it's a little bit more of a difficult problem, but really use your brain, talk it out with a neighbor to help you figure it out. I hope you enjoy learning about a little bit about Old Faithful today and predicting the next eruption. Hopefully at some point in your life you'll get to experience that in real life.